What's up, my movers and shakers? I'm Dave, this is MS Paints, and this just might be the future of tabletop scenery. So, battle systems have been around for some number of years now, and this specific set was first kickstarted in 2020, but we all know how much we remember from 2020. So when I came across this in my friendly local game store, EH Gaming, I genuinely couldn't help but take interest in it. Way back when these came out, I was more of a dick than I am now. And I kind of turned my nose up at it, to be fair, because I like real terrain, I like making terrain, and I want the most realistic sort of battle representation that I can in a made-up fantasy battle. Of course, then I made lots of battlefields and terrain and realized, oh fuck, now I have to coexist and live in the same space as this terrain and this battlefield that I made. Shit. So in light of new situations and information, it is entirely acceptable to change one's mind, and I have changed my mind. Or at least I hope to change my mind. So we're going to build this set, we're going to get some battle mats down, and I'm going to see if this stuff can compete with the real deal.
What's up, guys? Tony D here, back in perpetual forward motion, and I'm here to talk to you about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you're like me and you don't know what a computer is, well, Squarespace has all the tools you need to get started on your first website. A website is a thing that you look at on a computer, by the way. And a computer is a thing that you look at websites on. Anyway, what that means is that Squarespace provides all the tools that you need to make your first website go as smooth as possible. With award-winning templates and user getting started guides. But that's not all. Squarespace also has built-in tools to allow you to build your first web store. And if you already have a business, like a brick-and-mortar store, you can integrate your current existing EPOS system into the Squarespace framework. Alright guys, but wait, I ain't done, and this is the coolest part. Let's talk about Squarespace's built-in domain acquisition tab. Head on over to the domain acquisition tab, type in the address that you want, and hit acquire. It's just that easy, guys. So come on down to the Squarespace warehouse and emporium, where we've got squares and spaces by the website full.
Your Battle Systems box will come with a multitude of cardboard sprues containing buildings and scatter. To fasten the larger pieces together, we also have these nifty little plastic clip things. I'm making a start with a smaller scatter as a way of orientating myself with materials, designs, and instructions. If there were any instructions, that is. All the instructional material is delivered via video, which I'll talk about more in a minute. So far, everything slots in firmly. Some recesses need a little bit of a trim, but it's better to be firm than loose, I guess. There's a bit of everything, in fact no, there's shitloads of everything in here. Beds, bookcases, chairs, tables, staircases, steps, ladders, railings, fences. And it all generally wants to go together without tools. So it's been about an hour and a half, and I've made quite a bit of scatter stuff. I got the scatter out of the way. Predominantly that's because that's how the tutorial videos are laid out on the website. They are tutorial videos rather than documentation, which is irony aside, and I would prefer the documentation, but the videos turned out to be okay. They're very QVC. And once I got that into my head, I couldn't unsee it.
There you go. And here's your little well. And again, you're not going to want to take that apart. This is the classic point where you probably want to just glue some bits and pieces together. The reason I say that as well is because you've got this...
Well, yeah, overall, so far, I would say I'm impressed. Like with everything, there's hits and misses. I would say this is majority hits. However, there's stuff that is just oddly shaped to facilitate the slotting of things into other things when They then say in the video, oh, you can reinforce this with glue. And we could forego the slaughter system on some of the smaller things. On some of the smaller things, it looks kind of ridiculous. Not off-puttingly so, but kind of a bit weird and odd. And I would prefer that we just glue them and don't have the pegs on, and then we just have a simple treasure chest, and that's fine. But also, like this table, some of them are done for the specific reason that there's a peg on the end, so you can peg this into the side of a building, and when you pick the building up to take the lid off or whatever to see inside, this is pegged to the wall, so it doesn't go everywhere, which is very handy. These barrels are the epitome of hit and miss. They are very frustrating. Like, I've had trouble with any kind of barrel that is flat packed. I have not enjoyed the process of. These barrels, some of them fit together perfectly fine. Some of them, the gaps left over are absolutely horrendous enough. But then we got stuff like this cart, which is lovely. It's just lovely. This is the only way to really describe it. It's yeah, so hits and misses. I'd say 80% hits so far, which is great for scatter terrain that is literally made out of cardboard. You can't fucking go wrong there. Yeah, well done, battle systems. I'm going to move on to some buildings now to see how the buildings hold up. So weirdly, the buildings have about as many pieces as the smaller scale and take about the same amount of time to assemble. Usually starting with the ground floor and working up to the rooftops. I chose to focus on the tavern for this video since it's the largest in the box and has the most complexity and just looks a bit sexy on camera. And yeah, it can be a big faff to follow along to the instructions, but once you start getting, the railings, the doors and the chimneys on, fine. Things start to really come together, visually. Again, some of the cardboard fittings can be real stiff, real strong style. And if you're not careful, they can bend pretty hard. I think I would have preferred plastic pieces here, even if they were just grey or brown to extend the durability and life of the clips. But hey, let's not worry about that. Let's get some scattering and see how these all come together in the end. So, my thoughts overall. Yeah, this stuff is great. Can it replace fully 3D terrain? I don't think so, but what it offers instead is a point A to B in much quicker time. No carving, no tools, no glue, no painting, just popping it together and being tabletop ready in about 6 or 7 hours for the whole box. Which is the primary bonus here. It's fast and it's just done. And the designs aren't anything to be sniffed at either. All together on the tabletop with battle mats and miniatures, the battle system stuff holds its own. Oh, and it's rugged as fuck, by the way. I threw this in a box afterwards and I don't just have anything to worry about. Thank you as always to my lovely Patreon community. I know some of you already went nuts and bought a few of these box sets, so I hope you enjoy them. cheers. I'm out of here.
Is that okay? Is that it didn't come across as fake or nothing? Because I don't know computers. I read the words and I say them, but it don't mean nothing to me. I don't know. All right.